The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not reflect the views of Bronxnet or the program underwriters.
Bronxnet. Your voice, your views, your vision.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Open, the one and only show that opens up the Bronx and the world to you. I'm your host, Dr. Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS. Today's R&B and classic soul and all that other good stuff. We got a very special episode of the show happening here today. We begin with a look back as we remember the tragic events of September 11th. FDNY firefighter and 9/11 survivor Kevin Shea shares his heartbreaking tale and what he's doing to remember his fallen brothers. Then we meet a man who is doing his part to remember an American hero who gave his life for our country in the Korean War. Mr. Robert Gum shares more. After that, from humble beginnings to a vice president at Pfizer, Sylvia Montero, she's here, and she's going to discuss climbing the ladder to success. And finally, we close out our show later on with the finely tuned sounds of JT Maple. So stay tuned. All this and more headed your way because we are now open. Dr. Bob Lee, and you're watching Open. Today is Monday, September 12th, 2011. Before we go any further, let's check in with our resident DJ, DJ Cool Clyde, our mixologist on the ones and twos for the show. We believe past 10 years, we've been going through a lot. People have been remembering every year, but what's your memory of what happened on 9/11?
Time that this occurred. And it was just like a regular day for me. I was sleeping, came home from work, lay down. I think that was the day before I was in Madison Square Garden. Michael Jackson was performing at Madison Square Garden that day. And I think maybe a day or two later, this is what had occurred. And it was like unbelievable. You know, I mean, the amount of people that were deceased, jumping out of buildings. We just thought that it was like a small plane that hit the building. What
did you do upon waking up?
You know, I was still thinking it was like a normal day. You know, I didn't even recognize that this was really what was going on, because remember, I was just waking up. And to turn my TV on as I normally do, I always watch CNN or I watch, my daytime news or whatever, and I always like to know what's going on around the world.
Did you get any calls from your job, mass transit or anything?
I didn't get any calls at that particular time. But it was amazing that had occurred. But, I look at it today, I mean, my condolences goes out to a lot of the families and the people that were lost in there. I didn't have any particular friends that I knew personally that was lost in there. But I know it all affects us one way or another. But, I did see the speech yesterday. It was on every newscast.
Which speech was that?
When President Obama was speaking. Let me give him his respect. But I also got a chance to see when Bush was speaking. And they gave Bush a round of applause. And Obama, they didn't give him a round of applause. And I wonder why. And I thought that they, under Obama's administration, he was the one who caught bin Laden. So I was trying to figure out what was that all about, and I just think that we need to take a closer look as to what's really going on in the world today, and I think that 9/11 was a serious situation. The amount of people that came out was great, but you would never think that some people of color deceased in that building. I saw a lot of other images of other ethnicities, but I didn't see too many people of black people that was in that building. They didn't get too much coverage. And my understanding that there was a lot of people that was turned away. You know, so I think that they could have pretty much organized that a little bit better. This is my perspective of this whole thing, and I just think that we need to be able to show another perspective of it. And that's why I love, you know, being here at Bronxnet and being able to touch the grassroots perspective and seeing it from another perspective. And not that I'm taking anything away from the lives that were lost and the great moment that they try to put together down there at Ground Zero. But I do want to give it a different perspective on that.
There you go. All right, DJ Kool Clive with his perspective here. All right, this past weekend was all about the remembrance for the thousands that were tragically taken from us about 10 years ago. But before we go any further, let's hear for, some thoughts from our younger people and people throughout the country. And this is courtesy of New Face Media Productions. Let's hear what other people had to say.
Honoring our loved ones, it means remembering how they lived, and it means making sure we have their legacies carry on for the future.
I mean, there's no words for it. I mean, tears, just remembering, you know, what she went through, joy that she finally has her name in the memorial, some closure. I mean, there's so many emotions you can't even talk about it. It's just too much.
I was there that day when the plane slammed into the building on Tower 1. Firemen found a way out for us. God bless them. Stayed with our group the whole way. You know, I just thankful to be alive. Thankful to have my family around me. We did lose people that day. It seems that they get our best people, and we're chasing around their worst. I think it was a big turning point when we got bin Laden. I think he changed the whole world when they attacked us, and the world changed a little when we got him. And I'm just thankful, and I'm here supporting the families that lost people and remembering and trying to bring people together.
The American spirit is unparalleled. We're the strongest country in the world. We're resilient, and we also care about one another. So it's pretty fascinating.
When I remember 9/11, I remember the spirit of America coming together. And lately, we haven't felt that spirit. And what I want to say to the world is we need to renew that spirit. We need to stop talking about our separate issues and come together as Americans like we did on that day and put all that stuff in the past and just move forward, because that's how we honor the victims, by moving forward and working together.
I'd like everyone to remember how we all felt that day. Everyone came together. You never saw as many American flags. You know, people that have been here for their whole lives, people that just got here, and people want to come here. America's a special place. We forgive, we don't forget.
I'd like to say, you know, remember where we started and keep the future in mind and keep holding the door for others.
I want them to understand what we went through as a country. I want them to understand the unity that we have to continue going through forward. And I want them to build and show the world that this country is not going to go down without a fight. We're stronger and better than ever, and we're going to show the world what we're made of.
How we all came together. How how it's not an angry feeling here today. It's a feeling of healing, and the towers are going up. The towers will be up. People will know about it, and America's a great place, and that's what I want people to realize. People want to knock us down because we're on top. We're not on top because we're an arrogant leader. It's a global force for peace, like they say, the USS New York. It's there for peace. It's not for war.
times too. And welcome back, everybody. 10 years ago, our first guest was a member of the FDNY when our country was forever changed. As a responder to distress calls that morning, Kevin Shea was the only member of Ladder 35 to survive, suffering serious injury. In the process, Mr. Shea, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
You can give us a little, you can go back a little bit and tell us what you remember.
I was born with a very small silver spoon. No. You want to go back on that day a little bit?
Yeah, I know we're trying to get out of it. This is the day after. But, yeah, give us a little bit of what you remember.
The good point you say that, because I have retrograde amnesia for certain parts, so I won't remember everything.
Yeah.
You can make it up if you like after that. So that day, it was a beautiful day, no different than yesterday. It was really nice.
Yeah.
And I was getting off duty, guy coming in saying, you're off duty, so great. When the first plane hit, and I asked the officer at duty, because this to us was like a rescue and a fire of the century. So I said I didn't want to be part of this. So officer gave consent for me to jump on one of the rigs. So when the second plane hit, we all thought it was still the first, but it was the second one. We got called in to respond, and we went down with the team. But by that time, we were a little bit more solemn, because we figured it was not just an accident.
Yes. Yeah. And so after that, you just woke up in a hospital?
No. I do remember some things, bits and pieces. It's like a flashback coming to you. Well, like being in the South Tower, I do remember that. I remember meeting a whole bunch of guys at the command post, hugging guys, just glad to see them out of sight. We didn't really know what the outcome was going to be. We were really positive that things would be resolved. And technically, in a way, we were able to rescue about over 20,000 people that could have lost their lives, with, not just us. It was a contribution from the police department, the people who were there contributing their time too, right? So, but I did wake up, and I do only remember a glimpse of what occurred when the building came down. I was blown about 100 feet away, and they found me in the debris and took me to the hospital.
And how has your life been after that?
I'd say you move forward and it becomes very positive. Yeah.
But does it still weigh on your mind?
No, I have to say that I just don't like watching the news program, seeing something that happens.
Exactly, yes.
I like to move forward and say, okay, it changes you. And you like to say that it changes you in a positive way. There's a lot of confirmation bias and trying to convince yourself. But sooner or later you make decisions in the future that says, well, I'm going to try to avoid situations like that. This is one of those things you just can't say, I'm going to avoid it because it just happens to be a surprise. But you like to say that you're making the right decisions each time. And
upon you started a foundation?
Yeah, Fallen Brothers Foundation. That was just strictly to help out the widows and surviving families of that incident. And we kept it going for a while until another incident happened, the tsunami and the major floods in New Orleans. So, but we were happy to be able to participate in that cause.
But with this foundation, you started helping out with other tragic events?
Tragic events, well, we did. But it was for, again, focusing on surviving families. After that, we kept it going down until the funds dwindled. Because let's face it, there are other things that occur after that. You know what I mean? Things move on, and other incidents, like the incident in Japan. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Are we safe here in the city, or should we still be worrying about another event like that?
It will occur or not. There's always going to be a black swan. No one thought the housing market was going to go down, did they?
No.
Right, but it did. So there will be a black swan from here and there. So I would say just move on with your life, live it positively. There's a lot of other countries that have had incidents, many occurrences. England, where a lot of the bombers, they started to become more familiar with it, and they accommodated. They didn't bring it in and embrace it, but they certainly accommodated to that type of scenario. Israel's another one. So we would just need to do the same thing. You know?
What should people do? I mean, ordinary people. I mean, we go to work every day, but when something like this happens, we're like, oh, wow. It freaked out a whole lot of people, and I think people are still going through it. People are not really settled yet. But what should people do?
I say a good foundation is getting some good critical thinking skills of any scenario, right? And you want to do a site assessment of your own. First of all, obviously, is self-preservation. right? If you really feel that that hazard is really close to you, you have to find some means for you to protect yourself and your family and the one that you care about. And to do that, you probably want to get the professional to do that. American Red Cross provides training for that, right? They prepare you for almost any disaster, man-made or natural. So you would try to get a base. From that, you would try to customize it for your basic needs, right? We do that every day. You see that in the news. If you dial 311 in New York City, you will get that type of help. But if you want to, make it a family event, or even make it a game of trying to learn what you can do in case something like that happens.
Yeah. And so you advise everybody to take like a class with the...
Take a class would be good.
Yeah.
Learn about it. I'd say the internet is a great resource. If you just Google in something, right, you'll get something out. And I have to say that whatever question you have, I'm sure you'll be able to get a good answer. Yeah.
And how about a go bag?
Ooh, yeah. The go bag sounds awesome. I would say there are many resources where you can try to find out what materials you're going to need, you know. So, I mean, I have myself a go bag, but mine is for when we do have a disaster. I work for a team, the fire department disaster assistance relief team. We use our go bag to go to help the people. Like, we just had that incident, the floods up in New York. Yeah. A couple of the guys over here live up there, and they basically had to deal with the floods. And we're there, you know, and the go bag really does help out. Just the small basic things, making sure you can purify that water or shave so you don't look like a bum. No, I'm just kidding.
But Kevin, your go bag is going to be quite different from the regular civilian go bag. I mean, you got your
glows in
boots
the dark.
And gear. It does. But I mean, you should have the essentials. Your flashlight, of course, your toothbrush. I mean,
you're going good. You're going good. No, I would definitely say certain basic things was. I would say a jacket so people can see at night, because there's going to be times for me in my particular go bag. Flashlights, LEDs, you last a long time. I would hate to be that cheap flashlight we keep on banging it to get to work. Hate those. And I would have to say some cutting object. Even a survivor would say some sort of knife or something like that, because you never know when you need it. I don't mean for criminals. I mean for protecting yourself or cutting ropes and stuff like that.
Hey, I hope it doesn't come to that, where you need to protect your house and your family and everything with weapons.
Well, never know. Black swans happen all the time. But I'm sure we can handle it. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So you've been doing this for a while. You're back at work. Yeah, and you're on light duty right now?
No, I'm retired from the fire department.
You're retired?
Yeah. No big surprise. No, 2004. The numbers were right. They said, please go. So I said, oh, okay. So I worked on some other projects, and right now I'm working on helping people in Nicaragua. Yeah. So, you know, disaster relief is there as well.
That's right. So you're more into volunteerism.
Yep, volunteer. I volunteer during the hurricane season. I'm available from, not that anyone can call me. I have to be called by my agency. All right, but I'm available from, I guess it is August until November, when everything seems to get a little bit calmer.
We're going to call you. Hey, Kevin, we need your help.
Just call my authority first.
Would you want to say anything to your fallen brothers?
Well, since they're not around, but if they were around, I say, hi, how you doing?
Oh, they can hear you.
Yeah, if you say
they
so.
go through the lights, the electronics, and everything.
They were really great people, you know. I was young on the job, and they had years and years on the job. So, except for one guy, Diaria. But I would basically say, I'll be there soon enough, you know, and I just keep a nice warm seat for me.
Yeah. Now, but you were hurt pretty bad. You severed your thumb.
Severed thumb, broken neck, subdermal hematoma, major contusions, lost 90% of one testicle, 10% of the other. So I got one real testicle. And
just a testament.
What's that? Oh, okay. So I got major, but it was a quick recovery. That was good, and all the doctors were saying, restricted movement. But now I'm able to jump on a rope and climb up the top of my roof of my home, and I don't feel that bad about it. If you want, we can go parachuting soon.
Yeah, but don't try this at home, fellas.
Oh, yeah, don't try climbing roof unless you have the proper training.
Yeah. So how can people help out with the foundation?
My foundation's defunct for one reason. Money wouldn't be going in for it because those families are, I guess they're going to be taken care of by, the brothers are also taken care of. We were there in 9/11 yesterday, and the families are showing their appreciation for all the care and loving they've received from the brothers for quite some time. It's 10 years now, you know what I mean? But I'd have to say, if you're going to give to something that's going on now. American Red Cross sounds like a good idea, right? They're one of the beams. Also, I would say, if you really want to give wise, go to our organization. I don't represent them, but but it's called Give Well. Give Well. What they normally do is they evaluate non-profit organizations, not only based on the fact that they administer well and their funds go more towards the cause, but they actually evaluate their cause to make sure that the cause is right, because you hate to see a lot of waste in the things that you do. So Give Well would be that. That's free advertising for Give Well. They don't even know that I'm here. Yeah.
Were you there at 9/11 yesterday?
I wasn't at that site because I just felt that it would be a nice private moment, and I like to make it special. Yeah. So I like to bond with some people. After 9/11, I found myself bonding with, finding bonding with people was a much more pleasant experience than just taking care of tasks. Sure. So if I was to go down there, I like to go to someone who experienced it and loves to give the tour. Like there's a guy named Lynch, whose son died, and what a wonderful guy he is. And if he was to hold a tour, I'll go with him. Yeah. Because he feels it. Feels the same feelings I feel, and I'd go. And I just met Dioria's mom, and she runs a tour, I think twice a month. And I took her a card and I said, I'm going to call you when I want to go, because if anyone's going to do, it's going to be a friend that gives me the tour of that new place that they have set up. But I heard it's amazing, so I'd recommend anyone who's doing tourism, go check it out. Yeah, it opens today, doesn't it? Yeah, for the public. Yeah. Yesterday was for the families. Right, you know? Right. Yeah. So you still keep in touch with all the families? Do you have gatherings? I would say I do not, but I would say that I would be very willing to. And we do the fundraisers still. Even after 10 years, you do fundraisers. Yeah. Golf courses, you know, you go and play some golf, pay some money, and you get to meet some of the family members, you know. Good. I haven't been as active as I would like, but I have so many other projects to help people out. So, but I'll be doing it this year. I have two this September. You play? Got a swing? No, I don't. You drive around in a golf cart, but I like to make lots of jokes. You're like me, drive around a golf cart. I could possibly do that. I could do that. I'm waiting for the Google go-kart so they actually drive for me, so I don't have to have any accidents. So Kevin, what's your next project? What are you working on? I'm working on a project in Nicaragua where I'm making one of the world's first smart reserves. It's meant to automatically take care of your membership and all your needs at that place, and you can have a great time. If you've heard of geocaching. Wait. Yeah. World's first smart reserve. A wildlife reserve that's really smart. It's going to be Wi-Fi enabled, the entire place. Great. So just picture yourself going there and you see an animal, you take a picture. It automatically gets Wi-Fi enabled to the network, okay? So therefore people can identify it, tell it where it is, right? Wow, okay. And you can play games. My favorite show was Lost. So when I went to Nicaragua, I figured I would make a game where... Did you ever watch Lost, by the way? I've watched it a couple of times, yeah. Okay, well, running in and out. I guess you didn't like it too much. Well, no, I'm not a regular watcher because of my schedule. No judgment. No judgment today. But I wanted to take that there because it's a dry tropical forest. Now, the main goal for that is three. One, I have agroforestry. I have ecotourism. And I have a disaster relief unit that's being set up over there just in case a tsunami hits the town again, because the town was hit in 1992 with a tsunami. So if it hits again, I want to make sure they're all prepared. But the agroforestry is there to raise some money for the community as well as empower them to do it on their own. And the ecotourism is to bring people like you come in, you know, tourism, come in, bring the money in so we can help establish infrastructure for these people. Because I'm based in a town where there's only 125 homes, 970 people, and I'm sure they'd like to have a job just as much as us Americans would. You know, and that's one of the things that 9/11 did to a lot. I mean, I covered a lot of that stuff down there. And volunteerism, the stores were open, and they were just handing you stuff, you know, because you were helping out down there. They were giving you blankets. They were giving you dry clothing and gloves. Yeah. People were just handing you stuff. And the camaraderie and the togetherness and the love that was displayed down there is unforgettable. Yeah. And I think if we learn how to keep that and extend that far beyond 9/11, I think this world will be a better I'll give you
place.
some advice then on that one. Try to drop all isms and you'll be all set.
All isms?
Yep. It could be religion or secular. If you drop down Americanism or some sort of religious beliefs, right, and go down the idea that you're human and I'm human, it starts to work a little bit closer to what you want.
I understand you, you understand me. We both have crap and both have good stuff.
We have cultures as well, and we have to respect it. Exactly. And if you bring empathy as your major virtue, then you might be set.
There you go. Kevin Shea, FDNY firefighter. And that's Ladder 35?
It was Ladder 35, that's correct, and Hazmat Operations. Right. Represent, so yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
My pleasure, sir. Okay. You have a wonderful and safe day.
You too. Stick around for a little while.
Oh, okay.
And thank you so much for your service. More information on how you can do your part, please visit www.fallenbrothers.com. I think it's defunct right now, but you can still...
But you could just say that you went there. And
yeah, we'll go there.
Okay.
and it, you can go in and just check it out anyway. Up next, you'll meet a man who's fighting to keep a Korean War veteran's memory alive in the Bronx. But first, the memory of those lost on 9/11 were kept alive at an event sponsored by the Bronx Chamber of Commerce. Silva Anglin has a story.
The official start to the 2011 World Police and Fire Games took place at Prospect Park with an opening ceremony. These games brought fire and police professionals to New York City to compete in Olympic-style events on the eve of the 10th September 11th anniversary.
This is my first time partaking in it, but I think it's something like a mini Olympics amongst the police and fire officers internationally, and it's a way of us building a network with each other so that when we travel to and forth from country to country, we could have a liaison with persons who we haven't met here, so it would be easy for us to get along and easy for us to interact and to get information back and forth from each other.
The Games attracted close to 19,000 athletes from over 70 countries participating in 65 sporting events from August 26th to September 5th. Events are being held in and around New York City, with the hub of events taking place at the Jacob Javits Center, allowing athletes from around the world to access cultural, entertainment, and historical experiences.
There's some very nice sites. Central Park, Empire State Building, Yankee Stadium, Madison Square Garden.
And welcome back to Open, everybody. I'm your host, Dr. Bob Lee. Reconstruction is underway on a Bronx park named in honor of a Korean War hero. One of the men behind this effort is Bronx veteran Robert Gums, and he joins us now. Thanks so much for coming.
Okay, thanks for inviting me here.
So we're doing reconstruction where?
Well, the park is located on 164th Street in Boston Road, 2 blocks down from Morris High School.
And what are we doing with it?
Well, actually, the park has been completed. The project was developed over 7 years. In 2005, a group of African American veterans came together and we decided to renovate the park. The park is named after an African American Korean War Medal of Honor recipient by the name of Sergeant Cornelius H. Charlton, who was from the Bronx. He was killed in 1951.
In Korea?
Yes, in Korea. He was awarded the Medal of Honor and the Purple Heart. When he came home, his family wanted him buried at Arlington National Cemetery, but there were some issues.
What were the issues?
Well, according to family members and a lot of people, there was racial issues. And as a result, he was not buried in Arlington, but he was buried in the family cemetery in Virginia.
Oh, okay.
In 1989, the Medal of Honor Society did research on the grave sites of Medal of Honor recipients, and they found his gravesite in terrible condition. So he was reburied.
Sergeant Cornelius
Charlton. Charlton, yes. So he was buried at the American Legion Cemetery in Beckley, West Virginia. In 2008, thanks to the efforts of the Friends of Charlton Garden, and Congressman Jose Serrano, and Congressman Courtney from Connecticut, he was finally reburied at Arlington National Cemetery. But in 1952, the New York City Council named a local park after him in the Morrisania section of the Bronx where he grew up. So in 2005, a group of veterans discovered the park once again in terrible condition. So we organized efforts, and we, thanks to the support of the New York City Council, Helen Diane Foster, Congressman Jose Serrano, and the federal government, we were able to renovate the park. So the park is actually ready for visitation. It had a ribbon cutting ceremony in 2005.
How did you get involved in this?
I got involved through meeting a gentleman, a Korean War veteran by the name of Leroy Archibald. He's also a community activist, been very involved in the Bronx.
Charlie Rangel's a Korean War veteran.
Exactly, yes.
Congressman Rangel.
Right.
Yeah.
So through a project also that I'm involved with called the Bronx African American History Project, I met Leroy Archibald, and he made me aware that there was a park named after an African American Medal of Honor recipient that I knew nothing about.
Wow. Yeah.
I grew up in the Bronx, in fact, not too far from where the park was located.
And didn't know anything about it?
Didn't know anything.
So what piqued your interest?
Well, decided to visit the location, and I was really depressed at the condition of the park. So
what was wrong with it?
Well, it had been in disrepair. Keep in mind, the park has been around for a long time, and was named after Sergeant Charlton in 1952, but it was not maintained. There was a lot of graffiti, as I said, in terrible condition, really not fitting to honor a Medal of Honor recipient. So became very involved and decided to join forces and see to it that it was renovated.
Now, you have something called your company, Gums and Thomas Publishing.
Yes.
Your Gums, who's Thomas?
Thomas is an artist, Harlem artist, and along with him and several of his brothers, we formed a company called Gums and Thomas Publishers back in 1985. At that time, we recognized there were not too many African American publishing companies. So we felt it was important that we, try to do something about that. My background is in publishing and graphic design, so we formed this company.
Books, of course. Music, maybe?
Books on African American history and culture.
Yes.
At that time, Kwanzaa was beginning to become very popular. A lot of people knew nothing about Kwanzaa. So we decided to publish books on Kwanzaa to make people aware. And we were very successful. As a result, Kwanzaa certainly became a household name.
And you became very rich.
Not rich, unfortunately not, no. But that was not the objective.
Yes,
the objective was, to create material to inform people about what the holiday was.
How important is it to remember veterans, particularly since you're into history and everything, veterans who went into war around 9/11 or after 9/11?
Oh, it's very important. Keep in mind that this country, past and present, has been protected by veterans, people who have volunteered to protect the interests of this country. And I think 9/11 was a reminder that we live in a very challenging and dangerous world.
Yeah.
So it's important to keep in mind that there are people who are volunteering their services to protect this country on a regular basis. And I think certainly events like 9/11 are important because, once again, it brings home to people who perhaps take wars and the service of people for granted.
How do you think history will be written? I mean, after 9/11, how do we complete this? The terrorism and everything. Are we ever going to get out of this? How do you think that's going to play out?
I think 9/11 was a wake-up call. that while we may not have world wars,
this is sort of a world war, though.
It was, but not by a country, for example. You know, we're dealing, I think, with a different form of conflict, different enemy, based on different ideologies and philosophies. So I think...
But what kind of war is this, then?
You know, people have different names for it. You know, some people say it's an ideological war. It's, you know, based on values, religion. I think this perhaps is a signal for what's to come, that, you know, wars will not be in the scale of certainly a World War I, World War II, or a Korean War, for that matter. But there'll be issues that people are prepared to die for. And I think, you know, it's important that this country and its citizens be prepared to accept the reality.
How will this war play out? So
I'm
you're a
not
history buff, so
yes,
what do you think?
yeah. I think it's too early to tell. As I said, I think it's a different type of war. It's not country against country, army against army. Pretty much ideological.
Okay. And finally, how do people get involved in what you're doing, or find out more information? Maybe friends of Charlton Garden.
Yes. Well, first of all, I invite people to visit the park. It's called Charlton Thompson Garden, and there's a little story behind it.
The sergeant.
Yes, because as I said, in 1951, it was named after Sergeant Cornelius Charlton. But we also became aware that there was another African-American Medal of Honor recipient from the Bronx. So we were able to have the park changed, the name changed to reflect his service as well. So it's called Charlton Thompson Garden.
There you go. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Mr. Gums in the house. Thank you. Always come. You're always welcome. We're going to learn some more of the history. You know, just lay the history on us. All right, we've got to take another break, but up next, author Sylvia Montero. She's going to share secrets to success. Business. That's coming up right after this. Right here on Open.
Underneath everything we are, underneath everything we do, we are all people, connected, interdependent, united. And when we reach out a hand to one, we can influence the condition of all. That's what it means to live united. Coming home can be hard if you're a veteran of Iraq or Afghanistan. You may feel like you're all alone. But you're not alone. At iava.org, your fellow vets are all around you. Join our free online community, get the resources you need, and connect to other vets who know where you're coming from. iava.org. We've got your back.
And welcome back to Open, everybody. I'm your host, Dr. Bob Lee. You know, in 2004, our next guest was recognized as the most outstanding Hispanic woman in business by the New York State Assembly. Now, Sylvia Montero is here to share her story, not history, her story, her story. You're welcome to the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me,
Always
Bob.
a pleasure to see you. An outstanding businesswoman. Now you have a book. You're an author?
I'm an author.
Oh, there you go. You got to keep
thought?
on climbing the ladder. Now, tell us about your humble beginnings and your rise to leadership, climbing the ladder.
Bob, I was born in Puerto Rico, in a little wooden house on stilts in the middle of a sugarcane plantation where my father worked, southwest Puerto Rico, the little town of Cabo Rojo.
Oh,
so we were in the
yes.
outskirts of the town.
Yeah.
No electricity, no running water. 4 other siblings. So there were 7 of us in this tiny little house on stilts, and with very little income. And my family moved to New York, looking for a better living. And so I grew up in the projects of the Lower East Side of Manhattan. And the most important thing in our lives, our parents were encouraging us to study, to do well in school, because we had no money for a college education. And if we wanted to go to college and they said we needed to go to college, we would have to earn scholarships. So there was a tremendous emphasis on education. So I got a scholarship at Barnard College of Columbia University. I went for a master's at Queens College. I became a teacher. I taught for a couple of years, got laid off by New York City when New York City was going through a similar situation as the city's going through now. And I moved back to Puerto Rico, taught at the university for a semester, and then changed professions and joined the pharmaceutical industry. And for the next 30 years, I was in the pharmaceutical industry, learning how to be successful within this very huge corporate environment.
Pfizer. Yes.
I joined another small company before Pfizer for a year and a half, and that became my kind of like my college education in human resources, since my education had been in Spanish literature and not in business. And so I learned on the job, and there were quite a number of situations that were very meaningful to me about learning in a new environment. A year and a half after I joined this small company, Pfizer got me. And for the next 28 and a half years later, I retired from Pfizer as the head of human
But you became
resources.
familiar with the corporate world. You were bilingual. You knew how to move. You knew the shakers.
Absolutely.
Yes. And
I had to learn.
Yes.
I had to learn that those were important things. So I call it organizational savvy. It is. You have to have good.
How important is organizational savvy?
I think it's critical. You know, my statement, which opens eyes, is performance is not enough. You can be the best performer as far as delivering the projects on time, and doing good quality work. But in order to climb that ladder, the people who make the decisions have to know who you are and have to respect you and expect that you will be successful. So understanding the culture in which you work, having that power of observation and strong interpersonal skills is critical to climbing that ladder successfully.
So get the knowledge of what to do, what to say, how to be.
I'll tell you one more thing.
Where to go.
Present yourself.
Present yourself.
Present yourself in the best way. Present yourself. So now, presenting yourself, you know, most people think only about clothing, and I think that's really important. Clothing, how you dress, how you your stance, your expressions, right? But I believe also that the way that you present yourself is also how healthy are you? So take care of yourself.
Exercise your mind and body every day.
Absolutely. Eat well.
In preparation for
exercise. Go to your annual physicals. Take care of yourself, because a healthy person is a better performer.
Generally.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you have you take care of yourself. You feel good about yourself. You then look good, and then the last thing in presentation of self, you need to learn how to speak. How to speak, be a good conversationalist, be able to speak in public. And I have to tell you, Bob, that was my bane.
There you go.
It took me years. It took me years to feel comfortable speaking in public. I was terrified. I was terrified.
A lot of people are.
Absolutely. And I knew that as you go up the ladder, when you become a leader, you must be able to speak to senior leadership, to larger groups, to your groups, and you must be able to do it well.
Yeah, because you're leading, people are following, and you want people to respect you and follow you. I mean, if you're not doing the right thing, they're not going to want to do the right thing.
And you want to interact with them in a way that they believe in you. That you motivate them. And
that's important too. Are you believable?
Yes. And so the extent to which you communicate self-assurance will determine how individuals follow you. And that term, self-assurance, I think is really critical, because growing up a minority in the Lower East Side, I suffered what many young people suffer through, and that is the issue of not believing in myself.
Yes, yes.
And I had to go through that process and get over that. I remember that it was sometime in high school as a teenager where I said to myself, you know, I am not going to allow other people's discrimination, prejudices to affect how I feel about myself. And so I am responsible for how I feel about myself.
Yeah.
And from then on, it just developed more and more, and that sense of self-assurance needs to come through, and it keeps giving back your entire life.
What do you say to the person who doesn't feel motivated? I mean, this happens a lot now, of course, in our public school system, in a place of business where sometimes people make you feel worthless, and you're not motivated, and your self-esteem is low. What do you say to those people?
So there's one critical phrase that you used that I like to jump on, and that is sometimes people make you feel worthless. Make you feel worthless. My point is that there isn't a string or a chain between another person and you and how you feel, that another person cannot make you feel in any way unless you allow that person.
So then you can make you feel.
It's your decision. It's your decision to allow a person's behavior to lead you down that spiral. And so, you know, I think it was really critical to reach a point where you depend on yourself. And that gives you so much resilience, because one of the things many of the examples that I try to give in my book is when things did not go well for me, because resilience and tenacity and knowing that, oh, okay, so I flunked here, or I failed here, or this didn't work out, but I know I can do this.
I can always make the grade.
I can work harder, I can get more information, I can do it this way, but never give up on yourself. And that's the point of my book.
Yes.
I wrote the book to reach young people with obstacles to overcome, to help them be motivated, to never give up on themselves, and to help them understand that they too can be successful. If I could do this, they can do this.
Make it your business to
Make
get
it
the
your
job
business.
done. Make it your business. This is wonderful. So all of those wonderful things you put in this book so that other people can understand what you've gone through, and get some valuable information from
Yes. This is a book of memoir, so you have my story. I think it's important to know from rags, the rags to the riches, the American story. And then most of the book is dedicated to my experiences and my learnings moving up that corporate ladder. I wrote the book to give back. I wrote the book to reach a larger population of young people who might benefit from my story. And the proceeds from the book are going to my nonprofit work. Towards my nonprofit. I'm on the board of the Grand Street Settlement, who's a wonderful organization that helps the poor people in Lower East Side, where I grew up. And so the profits from the book will go to the Grand Street Settlement.
Oh my God, God bless you.
To help.
Help us continue to help other people. Giving back. Make it your business to pick up this book. Where can we get it?
Amazon.com. You can get the book itself, or you can download it to Kindle. It's also available on the Nook. And on my website, there's also a link to Smashwords that will provide other electronic download opportunities.
Are you available to help others write their book?
There is an email there. There is an email there. I don't know if I can help others write a book. But I must say, the process of writing the book was so introspective and fulfilling, and it was an incredible learning experience that I would recommend that everyone write a book.
It helped you to reach deep down and pull out some of the things that you may have forgotten about.
A great way to express it, absolutely.
Absolutely. And it helped you to realize your direction and helping other people get what they need out of life.
And the reflection was very, very healing, if you will. And at the end of each chapter, I do put my final reflections on it. the takeaway point, so that people can have something very simple to summarize some of the main points in each chapter.
May I read this?
Please, it's yours.
Thank you. Can you sign it?
I will.
Thank you so much.
It'll be my pleasure.
Okay, there you have it. Sylvia Montero. She's an author now, too, and a great business person and a beautiful person to talk to. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. And you can come as many times as you like. You can check out her book on Amazon.com or Smashwords.com. And up next, you can open the Music Mondays curtain. All right, I'll sing a songwriter, J.T. Maple. Going to be here right here. You don't want to miss this. But first, the Bronx is gearing up for a heavy metal show with the Big Four. That's going to happen this week. So we have to excuse them. All right. You want to check out a preview? We'll check it out right now. We have the exclusive.
When we were younger, we used to think, well, we thought, of course, playing Madison Square Garden, that was it. That was the Mecca. You know, you can't. And we played Madison Square Garden in '91, and that was it. But this is a totally different ball game. Wednesday at Yankee Stadium is a celebration of this music, and for us Bronx guys, it's the ultimate celebration. You have to understand, diehard Yankee fans here, man. So it's a big deal. So I know we're going to have a good time. So we want you to come out and have a good time.
College is hard. Down. Those books are heavy.
My sport is football, but my passion is education.
Right up here.
So every year, I take promising high schoolers on a college tour
Lights there, darks there.
to show them that higher education means a brighter future. My name is Nnamdi Asamoah. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Find out how you can live united for education. Give, advocate, volunteer. Go to liveunited.org.
Do you wear this?
Welcome home, man.
Weight loss, it's one of the many ways to fight osteoarthritis pain. For more information on managing pain, go to fightarthritispain.org.
And welcome back to Open, everybody. I'm your host, Dr. Bob Lee. The beat goes on and on and on until the break of dawn. But now it's time for our Music Mondays. Check it out, check it out. Check, 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 check. You know, our next guest has been working on finally tune his craft, and is proud to show us what he's working with. So So give it up for JT Maple, everybody at home and everybody in our studio audience. Take it away, JT Maple in the house.
Everything we made and turned it into a worry. As I watched us rest on the ember pile, I allowed my confusion to burn. So if I stood on top of a mountain, would you hear me call out the cliche? 'Cause I know it's too hard to let you go when holding on is a maybe. There's you, then there's me. We were one perfect jewel trying to make a history. But when you had to leave, we could only depend on if it's meant to be. And greeting cards couldn't find the words to say. I come back to my arms, I've grown tired of long and empty. I know that you do, but passively I'm gonna keep that from you. I'd rather let you hold on to the upper hand than ever have you admit you miss me too. So if I stood on top of a mountain, would you hear me call out the cliche? 'Cause I know it's too hard to let you go when holding on is a maybe. There's you, then there's me. We were one perfect jewel trying to make a history. But when you had to leave, we could only depend on if it's meant to be. I know that I could walk away and start over in a new scene, but all I do is wait to find that you and me are one perfect jewel, bound to make no history. But since you had to leave, you know that we could only depend on if it's meant to be. And I know that I'll be fine without you. In one